We've been solving one-step equations with addition and subtraction. Today we're going to work with multiplication and division. But before we do that, I want to review real quick multiplying fractions, because to be able to do algebra equations with multiplication and division, you have to be able to do fractions, which is why we spend a lot of time on it. Let's review this problem. 2/3 times 6/20. If I want to do that multiplication problem with fractions, we've learned to factor diagonally. So with 3 and 6, I say what's the biggest number that will go into both of them evenly, and that is 3. So I divide this one and this one both by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then I do the same thing with the 2 and the 20. I'm going to divide both of those by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Then I multiply across. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 10 is 10. 2/10 will reduce to 1/5. And that's how we multiply with fractions. All right. Now, what we're going to do is very similar to what we've been doing, but now we have to use a different operation. Let's say that I have 6x equals 48, and I want to solve it. Well, what I told you the other day is we want to focus on getting x by itself. I want to get this x by itself, which means I need to move what to the other side? The 6 needs to go to the other side. So let's come down with a separate step, because otherwise your notes will not make sense. Let's start here and let's use an opposite. This says 6 times 6. So what is the opposite operation of multiplying by 6? Dividing by 6. Now watch how we do this. Draw a fraction bar underneath both of them and put a 6 underneath both of them. And that's going to represent our division. On the left side, 6 divided by 6 is 1. And so I just have an x, which is what I want. On the right side, I have to do the division. 48 divided by 6 is 8. And that is my answer. All right? Now, you try one of those. You try this problem. 8x equals negative 96. Try that problem while I pause the video. Okay, so you've had a chance to try it. Let's see what the correct answer was. To do this problem, I should have divided both sides by 8. So the 8's cancel, and I have negative 96 divided by positive 8, which is negative 12. Now, what I want you to notice is that this is the first of 3 situations that you're going to run into. Okay? On our next page, or my next page, I want to kind of break these problems up into 3 situations. All the problems we're doing tonight are going to fall into one of these 3 categories. The first one, the first situation, is the one we just did. 4x equals 28. Okay? That's situation 1. All right, we know how to deal with that. Situation 2 is this one. b over 4 equals 8. That is situation 2, and let's talk about that one now. Situation 1, don't we divide both sides by 4, right? And I get x equals 7, right? We know how to do that problem. That's the ones we just did. That is the first situation. The second situation, right here, number 2, I have a number divided by 4 equals 8. So I need to move that 4 I need to move this 4 over to the other side. So we need to use an opposite. Doesn't that say b divided by 4? So what's the opposite of dividing by 4? Multiplying. So we are going to multiply both sides by 4. Remember, with the equations, we must do the same thing to both sides. Now notice what happens on the left side. When I multiply by a whole number, I put it over 1. And if I do my factoring, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Those 4's just go away because 1 times b is b. Equals 8 times 4, which is 32. And that is the second situation you will see in your homework tonight. What is the third situation? It is one like this. Situation 3 is one like this. 2/5 c equals 6. This is the third situation that we will run into. And again, we're thinking, okay, I need to move this 2/5 over here. Well, how am I going to do that? This says 2/5 times c. So that means I'm going to divide both sides by 2/5. But wait a minute. If I divide by a fraction, when I divide by a fraction, do you remember the rule? When you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. In other words, we flip the fraction and multiply. So to tackle situation 3, let's come down on another line. Let's put a new equal sign, and let's recopy the problem. To do situation 3, I am going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 2/5. 5/2 times both sides. And you're going to see why that works. On the left side, everything will factor out. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 5 and 5 factor out. So all I have is 1 times c, which is c. On the right side, I have to do my multiplication with fractions. So I have to put 6 over 1, and then I need to do my factoring. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Multiply across. 3 times 5 is 15 over 1, which is just 15. All right? Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give you 3 problems out of order that are going to be one of these 3 situations. And then you're going to try them on your own. So we will call these class examples. If you're watching this video on your phone or at home, please try to pause the video and do these on your own. All right, here is the first example that I want you to try to do. N over 12 equals -7. There's the first one. Here's the second one. -5x equals -100. There's the second one, and here's the third one. 2/3 x equals -18. I'm going to pause the video, and you should do the same thing if you're doing it at home or on your phone, and try these without my help. All right, let's take a look at these. The first problem, number 1, let's see which situation that is. That is situation number 2, where I have a number divided by a number, or a letter divided by a number. So this says n divided by 12, so I want to multiply both sides by 12. I do the opposite. The opposite of dividing by 12 is multiplying by 12. So on the left side, I put this 12 over 1, and the 12s factor out. They go away. And so I just have n equals negative 7 times 12, which is negative 84. Problem number 2 is just like situation number 1. I have negative 5 times x. So the opposite of multiplying by negative 5 is dividing by negative 5. So the negative 5's cancel, and I have x equals positive 20 because it's negative 100 divided by negative 5. The third problem, number 3, is just like situation number 3, where I need to multiply by the reciprocal. What's the reciprocal of 2/3? 3 over 2. So 3 over 2 times this side, and don't forget 3 over 2 times this side, but I need to put the whole number over 1. Now the reason I do that is because on the left side, it gets the x by itself. Everything factors out, so I just have x. On the right side, I need to do factoring. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 18 divided by 2 is 9, but it's a negative 9. So I multiply across with what I have left. 3 times negative 9 is negative 27. 1 times 1 is 1. So my answer is negative 27. Now, there's one other situation. This situation we already know how to deal with, but it might throw you off if we don't go over this next example. Let's say that I had 1/4 x equals 6 1/4. 1/4 x equals 6 1/4. This is, we've covered 3 situations. Isn't this situation 3? If we go back to where we covered our 3 situations, this is situation 3. All right, with a fraction out in front of the variable. So to deal with that, I multiply both sides by the reciprocal. It's the same thing. The reciprocal is 4 over 1. So I have 4 over 1 times 6 1/4 on the right side. And that's what you may have forgot how to deal with, which is why I'm covering it. On the left side, everything factors out, and I just have x. On the right side, when I multiply a mixed number, I have to make it improper first. 4 over 1 times 4 times 6 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25 over 4. You just make it improper. Then I do my factoring. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And I just have 25 over 1. Okay, this will be 25 over 1, which is just 25. So if you see a mixed number, just make sure that you make it improper first before you multiply. And we will stop there for today.